So we are live.
All right, so hello and a good afternoon, everyone. My name is Triston Gollop. I am the program coordinator attached to the Archdiocesan Family Life Commission. And today I am here with three individuals. I'll allow them to introduce themselves. Can we start with Alicia?
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia Hoyte. I'm a clinical psychologist by profession, a mother by vocation, and a great support and facilitator with Family Life Commission.
Lauren?
Lauren, you're muted.
All right. Yes, I know. I'm so used to muting myself in meetings now, honestly. My name is Lauren Branker. I am married to my very loving husband. I am a mom to one and only one. And I volunteer with the Family Life Commission within, the scope of parenting and everything else intertwined.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Most definitely last but not definitely not least, Mr. T.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Taye Coryatt, the program officer here at the Family Life Commission. I am a son, I am a brother, and I hope to one day be a parent.
Awesome stuff, T. Right, so we like to invite you all to our new series, Archdiocesan Conversations, and this particular topic today, we'll be covering parenting in uncertain times. So as we go forward within the conversation, the first question I want to throw out to the panel is: how do you think whether economic, social, or global situations, circumstances affect parenting within Trinidad and Tobago today?
And we all go quiet. My mouth big. I like to go first. We were already stressed as parents. I'm a mom of 5 teenagers and young adults, and trying to figure out how to guide, how to advise my children gets more complicated. How to keep my stress and worry about the situations around us from impacting on them when I'm dealing with them. Takes real juggling sometimes and gymnastics. So not pouring my anxieties onto my children is an extra piece of work now.
Thank you, Alicia. And how about you, Lauren? Given that you are a mother of one.
I've only had experience in parenting for 2 years, 2.5 years, and I can safely say, mommy's on the struggle bus. I'm on the first, when you enter the bus, the first seat. I'm on the first seat on the struggle bus. There's so much that is happening around us externally, but to be honest, I don't even have time for that. I'm just trying to focus on my home. To be real honest, I don't even want to put a label on it, but Theo is 2 years old. And I think, Alicia, you can understand, you remember what 2 years old was like?
Oh, yes.
And yes, it might be uncertain times outside of my home, but in my home right now, I feel like an uncertain parent. Am I doing this the right way? Is this how my son is supposed to react to not wanting to wear this color pants today? And I'm like, okay, Lauren, you don't cry because he's crying. And then when he starts to cry and you start to cry, everybody starts to cry because he doesn't want to wear the green shorts, right? And for me, I can't really digest everything outside because I'm so trying to figure out inside. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for
Awesome.
Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren. And what about you, Tay, with regards to your aspirations as a parent? How do you think aspiring parents feel with regards to the uncertainty within today's society?
I can be very honest. I had this conversation few days ago
or the thoughts. I am so glad I'm not a parent right now because I don't know how I would have survived. Thinking about one, the price, the cost of living, and the potential for it to go up, and the fact that we are near to a nation that is potentially could be more. I'm like, how am I going to be a father, a husband in these times? It is really scary. Not gonna lie. I hope that things can get better because I knew how my mom felt during COVID when we had the pandemic. And I get similar feelings now because it's a time of uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. And I know my mom had to make sure that the home was stable and making sure that we have meals. I was still in university, so she was still paying for me for university. And she's also a nurse. So she was in the heat of all of that. So I know she was feeling a lot of stress then. And I'm wondering if I am able to do that as a parent in these times now. So I'm kind of glad that I'm not in a situation where I have to be under that stress, but at the same time, it makes me wonder and probably want to pray for those who are parents right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think even from my perspective as well, I'm a new father. I have a 3-month-old at home, and I think to myself, probably when I just finished school, I was like, I don't think I want any children because you're not sure where the political climate is going, right? Because my background is in political science and psychology. So all I did was study the economic state of the world. And I'm just like, I don't think having a child will make sense. And then you're in the situation where you have a son now, and you're like, oh my goodness, things just got real in terms of like, I need to make sure that you want to have that outline there to make sure that everything is perfect, everything is in line for the reality, to not hurt this child, to not hurt his dreams, his aspirations. And you're just like, wow, you have so much on your mind now as a parent, and you're forced to, okay, let me not try to be perfect and just live in the moment and try to, okay, take it day by day, take it day by day, you know? So I definitely appreciate the the contribution so far. But I do have a question again, especially seeing how parents are maybe struggling within today's society, especially with social media and with social media shaping our children's worldview. How can parents within Trinidad and Tobago guide them through misinformation and online pressures?
I always feel like you're calling my name without calling my name. Just go first. I don't know any way to get around the issue of parental calm, which sounds crazy. And Lauren, don't scream at me because I could imagine a 2-year-old making noise and I talking about being calm. But I don't know how we're going to get around that. That seems to keep coming up as a core something for us, because we're the adults in the home. We're the adults in the home. We're the ones with the fully developed brain with more resources emotionally and everything else. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but by aiming for regulating our own emotions and finding places of calm, then I can engage, or at least practicing that parental calm and that emotional regulation before I engage with my child. Yeah? So I'm not pouring my anxieties onto them, um, because I do it and my children call me on it. When I do it, they come to me about something they've seen on social media. And the minute you have a child, Tay, you will discover this one day by God's grace, all that store of ancestral lectures just come down through your mouth, Lauren, you're laughing. Before as they come with something from social media, the finger comes up and you start with all you should and you should never and back in, whoo, and to be able to breathe and just calm that down, to hear what they come in with and be able to ask them questions about what they think. What do you think about what you're seeing? Does that make sense to you? And let them express their questions or their concerns or how they see it. But that requires me being able to breathe and regulate my nervous system. Lauren, are we in the right place?
We are in the right place because I would say I've been working with Family Life Commission ever since I came out of university. Bishop Robert brought me here. So I've been exposed to what we had was common sense parenting. And I remember being exposed to toddlers 2 to 5. And I have to say that I am very calm when Theo is in his state of having a tantrum. I never thought I would be calm, but I am calm. I don't respond or react. And Triston, you would learn this because you have a 3-year-old, but I'm develop your calm techniques from now so that when they get older, because like now to a year is like a nice time. They're getting to know you, you're getting to know them, and it's a nice time. But when they start to develop their personality and they start to speak and they start to have an opinion and stuff, being calm is essential to your relationship with your child. I am able to stay calm and I thank God for that. And a lot of it has to do with children are gift and common sense parenting toddlers, toddlers 2 to 5. But I feel like I know Alicia's right. Whenever you are not calm, your kid is gonna pick up on that. And the relationship, the situation is going to become tumultuous. I haven't reached the stage of social media because Theo, the only social media Theo is on his daddy's page, right? And he doesn't actually know the page, but he's on the page, but he does not have screen time. And if he does have screen time, it's a television and it's timed. I know it sounds wild and oh my God, these modern age parents.
No, it's necessary.
Right, it's necessary for my family because it helps us to, one, have a better relationship with Theo, and he's, as well as him being how can I say, open to things that is appropriate for him. So social media does not have an impact on us as yet because he's not of the age. I do realize though that when we go out in public, people will call him by his name. And he kind of gets, you can tell, yes. Like they'll say, hi, Theo, but it's because he's on social media. And you can tell he gets kind of, how can I say, abrasive? Like he kind of draws back.
Yeah.
Like, how does this person know me? How do they know my name? And he's starting to pick up that people know who I am, but I don't know who you are. But he's too young to understand that he's on a social media page.
Right.
So social media has a role to play in that sense.
Wow.
With Theo developing and trying to understand people knowing him outside of his home. But he's not exposed to Facebook and Instagram and those kind of things. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Right. It's a difficult question, but I think part of it is one. It was mentioned that children will realize when their parents, but in order for the children to be calm, the parents have to be calm. And I think what is important is also the parents reaching out for help as well, for their own peace of mind. Because if the parent, as I said, if the parent's not in a proper mental state, then that could lead to some chaos. So I think parents understanding that they also need to take care of themselves before they burn out themselves and then don't have enough to see about their children is where it's important to start. Because parents, my mother was is my biggest motivator. I see my mother's drive, and I always try to emulate that. And when my mother is down, I could tell. And sometimes it 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 kind of discourages me in a sense. Um, when we face some sort of difficulty, I um I sometimes draw my energy from her. Sometimes I have to motivate her.
Yeah, I would think.
Um, you know, but younger kids, it might be difficult for them to understand that. Um, and they might think that, you know, the parents weren't there for them. But it's not that. It's that they needed someone to be there for them, and they aren't able to give them of themselves 100%. So I think it really is important that to keep those children motivated, parents need to also find time to make sure that they are in the right mental space.
And most definitely. Thank you so very much, Tay. And if I may say as well, I really like what Alicia said with regards to staying calm. I mean, I think back to when my mother sent me a TikTok video and she was like, "Oh my goodness, the US invaded Venezuela." And I'm like, "Mom, I don't think that is real." So, you know, we go through the process together, we do some research together, and it's almost like I'm teaching her how to use the social media
Yes.
properly, you know. So even sometimes sometimes the roles are reversed and that the child could offer that parenting as well, you know, that guidance. And so I just wanted to add my 2 cents there as well.
Can I add to that point, Tristan, on
Sure,
the
yes.
point that you raised there? Um, my home is now intergenerational. So my mother is back. She's 80. And my 12-year-old said to me just this morning, he said, Mommy, you realize just about everything grandma has on her YouTube feed is AI and she doesn't realize. I said, well, you may need to point that out to her. And so his role now is when we're looking at something, he would go, that's AI. I don't know if you can trust that source. Here's how he would guide her and even me in looking at trusted sources, and having conversation around the table about what the news is saying versus what we're seeing online, letting them, Tristan, you're so right, letting the teens guide us sometimes in terms of how do you recognize, looking for the blue tick on a verified page,
Yes.
you know? So they know that stuff, and so we have conversation about it. We will talk about what's in the news, what might actually be going on. That intergenerational conversation allows the teens or your young people to contribute and to use their strengths within the home as well. And we can have we beating our word calm to death, but we can have a calm conversation
Yes.
about difficult topics. Uh, and just one more point, what parental calm does is it avoids emotional escalation. So Lauren, you said that, my stress doesn't feed into what you doing and we end up in a shouting and a crying and a screaming match. My regulation also gives my children a safe space to manage their big feelings. So Theo might be crying about what pants to wear because you don't know what else is going on, but he has a safe place. Mommy can allow me the safe place to figure this out. My teens need that, my 20-year-olds need that. And my emotional regulation allows them to learn how to respond to challenges in a helpful way. They have a place to figure out, what do I want to do about this? How do I want to feel about this? So I can calm back down. Nobody stopped loving me. Nobody put me, nobody rejected me. Nobody laughed at me. It was safe to have this experience. And my parent is still here and holding it together. That's the work that I, as an adult, have to be able to do to give my children a safe space. That's my last spiel for the time.
Most definitely. And I like that having that conversation, that intergenerational conversation, especially when it comes to culture. So like my question to the panel would be, how do you see cultural practices like carnival, parang, church, these gatherings, how can they help children feel grounded in uncertain times?
Lauren, you want to start on that one?
Well, I mean, we take Theo out all the time, huh? Like whatever event is coming up, like I try to take Theo. So like for even Carnival this year, we took him to Kitty's Carnival, we took him to see Steel Pan. Like he may not understand what's happening, but we do talk to him and say, you know, this is what we're going to do, this is what you're going to see. Like we talk to him and imagine that he can understand what we're saying when we go into an event. But Theo, to be honest, hardly ever misses anything. He indeed has a hot foot. And I have a calendar in my house that says on X date is this, and I have a poll in my husband, a pinned post in my husband's chat of the events that we have to go to for Christmas. So culturally, I really try to have Theo involved because it's a big part of his identity, you know, and I want him to be exposed to so many different things, so many different religious holidays, because just to add to that, Theo's one side of his family is Muslim, one side of his family is Catholic, one side of his family is Hindu. He literally celebrates everything. He has an outfit for everything. Like my boy's outside, right? And we try to keep him involved in the different parts of his family, you know, so that he feels like there's a sense of belonging. And also that's why we try to take him to every cultural event so that he knows that he's a Trinidadian. You know, he belongs to a people, a community of people, right? So, I mean, we love anything cultural. I mean, he may not understand, but I tell you, 5 years from now, he'll be like, Mommy, remember when we went to Kitty's Carnival, X, Y, and Z? You know, so I do it for the later down and I don't do it for the now, you know?
It's a nice way to think of it.
Mhm.
I think cultural events, our children need to understand that they're part of something bigger. Very simply, you're part of a context, you're part of a history, you're part of a people, and this is what is happening in your context. It allows a number of benefits, I think, for our spiritual understanding. There's something bigger than ourselves that we have to contribute to. For our social understanding, this is how these measures will impact other people. So when we talk about making home a safe space, we're not talking about creating an imaginary bubble. The child has to understand that I'm part of something bigger. I could imagine I do it, I very well do it. As a parent, I could say, well, we ain't going here because, you know, they could drop a bomb any minute. So we're not going downtown, you're staying home. And we're not doing this because with these hard economic times, you know how much it is to afford and we can't go, you know, and I could go there. I could go there.
That is so true. Like somebody took me the other day and was like, you going in the savannah? What if they, and I'm like, sis, this could be
That's
happening
our
in
savannah.
right?
You know, right.
Yes, Tristan. This, let me say, especially like older persons, these older persons will come at you when you come in to tell them you're taking them to some lighting up of some tree or something. Oh, it's cool outside. Oh, you're taking them so far down, you know, and it's like,
But you catch you
and
outside.
And that creates the anxiety for the children. That creates insecurity.
thank you.
Now, you know, I mean, make sure we have safety measures in place. You know, we need to make sure our little ones know their name. One of the, oh God, the time will run out, eh? But I remember the joke of a little child got lost and the police asked, what's your name? And oh, what's your mommy's name? And he said, Mommy, what's your daddy name? Daddy, where you living home? You know, we might want to make sure the little ones know their names, know their parents' name, know where they're living in case of an emergency. And for whatever the age of the child, we may put systems in place, emergency number, emergency money, whatever. But crippling our children from going anywhere or doing because it's going to create a lot of anxiety and even more uncertainty for them. You know, so again, being the adult in the home, we bear the brunt. So I may tell my child, go ahead, these are the measures in place, and I home praying, you know, but I've let them go. And so we need to allow our children to be part of the larger context. It also gives a certain amount of stability. Christmas is happening. Advent is happening. I love how His Grace used that article to bring Advent into facing what we're dealing with right now. We're not in a bubble somewhere in church singing and ignoring the troubles. Our faith allows us to face what's going on head on. So we are celebrating Advent and then Christmas in uncertain times. We're doing the two together. I don't know, there's a word for what that gives, but it's powerful.
Hope.
Hey, yeah, right, yes. Given the year. Sorry about that, went blank. That's the essence right there.
That is the essence. Tay, do you have any sentiments you'd like to share on this question?
I think I'll just add a little bit. It is important to ensure that your children and family are exposed to um culture. Because I think knowing who you are, not only as uh, a James or a Coryatt or a Hoyte, that is important, but you need to know who you are as a Trinidadian.
Yeah.
Because we are stronger together. And if you can't relate to what your culture is teaching you or what your culture is about, then you can't stand up with your people. And too many times we are separated because we don't understand our culture enough. And I think like you and Lauren as quote unquote new parents, it is important for them to learn from a young age what their country represents so that they can grow up and be able to stand up and defend their country.
Have something to fight for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have something to fight for. So I think it's really, really important, despite what we might be going through, to still allow children to know who they are. Go out and be safe, but at the same time, go out, experience the Christmas traditions, go some param. Carnival is around the corner, Kiddies Carnival, or you can even watch it on the television. But explain to them what it's about. Don't let them just hide from everything. Sometimes sheltering them from their culture could be dangerous. And when they get older, they're gonna realize, oh wait, I missed out. I don't know what you're talking about. I cannot relate. Um, and sometimes children regret it. Well,
Yeah.
they can't regret it, but they miss out on those important life lessons and cultural lessons. So yeah, encourage your children to experience experience what Trinidad and Tobago and what their culture has to offer.
Can I
Most
just say
definitely.
one thing, Tay?
Sure.
Yes.
Theo is not allowed to go anywhere with me until he's 50 years old. Mommy's good.
I'm not getting on that. I'm not touching that one at all.
It's not the carnival. Mommy will be
That's for a
there.
private conversation, Alicia.
Mommy will
Another
be there.
conversation for another day.
Just put that disclaimer out. This is being recorded, so we could play this back for him during time.
Giles.
Mommy all the way. I know Trisha's looking at this and laughing at me. Laugh, Trisha. Laugh.
Oh, but I really love the contributions. I would say, a friend told me when I was just before I graduated in 2021, he was telling me we live in a world filled with professional cynics. So everything is doom and gloom, the end of all days, and we don't try to see the glass as half full. And as a result of that, we miss out on what's around us. Um, so as we look to close the segment, I just want to ask the panel, what advice would you give to parents raising children in Trinidad and Tobago today to prepare them for an uncertain but hopeful future?
Practice your own calm. Practice the pause. Learn to do your breath work. Learn to regulate your own nervous system. Your friends, your hobbies, your prayer time, your cry time. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself so that when you are with your child, you can be present to your child. And when you're present to your child, Dr. Justin Colson talks about the 3 E's: explore, explain, and execute. Ask questions. Let them tell you what they're thinking, or what they've seen, or what they heard, or what they're worried about. Let them talk first, hear where they're at, explain. You may give facts or information about in some response to what they're saying or where you're coming from with the issue. And execute is, okay, now that we've both heard each other, what do we want to do? You have to be calm for that. It gives space for them to be safe and to express themselves, and you work out solutions together. That's going to build resilience. That's going to build a sense of safety in a child, and going to build the skills from to come up as to being able to handle whatever tomorrow brings.
Most definitely. Thank you, Alicia.
I would have to say communicate. Triston, even at a young age, at 3 months, talk to your son. I'm not sure if you have a son or a daughter. I think you started mentioning a son.
Yes.
Yes, he is 3 months old. Talk to him. Tell him about your day. Ask him about his day. He's not going to answer you, but further down, he's going to. Talk to him about everything. And you see, you and your wife have conversations with your son present. Yeah. You know, Theo started talking at an early age, and I would say this very proudly, and it's because Brent and I would talk all the time. Because Brent and I were married for 5 years before Theo came along, so all we knew was each other. So when Theo came in, we were each other with him included. But we talked all the time in front of Theo, to the point where Theo fell asleep only because he heard us talking. Right? Communication. Talk to your child all the time. Make sure to listen, you know, even if you don't understand what they're saying. Communicate in and around them, you know, so that they always feel like I feel like Theo tells me everything now. It's so bad, it's so cliche that Theo tells everybody what I tell him.
Yes.
Right?
That's children.
Tay would tell you. Tay was there when Theo told Tay my business. Right? You understand? And Tay laughed. But talk, narrate to them, communicate. Even at 3 months old, you will have a child that is going to tell you every single thing. And I am witness to that.
And that's the emotional regulation right there.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Tay?
My bit of advice would be to, one, parents, making sure that you are mentally in the right space, in the right frame of mind. Because as I said earlier, your kids rely on you. So don't burn out yourself and then don't have anything to offer your kids, any support. So ensure that you have support.
Yes.
Stay calm, because your children feed off of your energy. And that is important, especially in these trying times, these difficult times that we're not sure what is to come. Your children will be looking to you for that sense of direction. And like Lauren said, to communicate. So what you communicate is what they would receive. And lastly, do not be afraid. Use your faith use your faith as your anchor. Once you're anchored in your faith, you can go out into the world and face everything. You can experience your culture without having fear. Be smart, but at the same time, be guided by your faith. So yeah, that's my 3 little cents that I will share.
Thank you, Tay. So we're just about to wrap up. So I just want to thank the panel again, Alicia, Lauren, Tay. Thank you so very much for your wholesome answers to our questions. As we continue this series, I would like to ask persons watching at home to comment, maybe say what you would like us first to have a conversation on for the next segment. And we could see where that goes from there. So I just want to say thank you again. You could follow us on social media, and all of that would be within the description. So you all take care. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Everybody.